Snickerdoodles. Did somebody say Snickerdoodles? You bet. Welcome to Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, the author of Unprocessed, The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss and Own Your Health. And this is where I show you recipes for healthy, permanent, and sustainable weight loss. Today, I'm going to show you how to make the easiest and most delicious Snickerdoodle you've ever had with only 4 ingredients, and there's a good chance you already have them all in your house. This has never been demonstrated before. It is from my upcoming book, A Date with Dessert, and it is so good. It's not only vegan, it's whole food plant-based, and it is free of refined sugar, oil, butter, salt, and all those other unhealthy, calorically dense ingredients that you would normally find in a cookie. I'm using my NutraMilk machine smoothie bowl as my food processor because it is just so much more powerful than my Cuisinart or any food processor I've tried, but any food processor fitted with the S-Blade will work. You'll just have to process it a lot longer. I've timed it in both machines, and when it takes 1 and 2 minutes in this machine, it takes like 2 or 5 in the other, but it will work fine. So I will write the recipe in the show notes below, so I will just show you how to make it. And we start with our gluten-free oats, and we put them in the NutraMilk or the food processor, and our seasonings, which are cinnamon and vanilla. But what kind you use is going to make a big difference. You don't want to skimp on quality with this cookie, I promise you. Now we're going to just put this in and process it for 1 minute. This will probably take about a minute or a little bit longer in a regular food processor. I prefer to do it this way than to buy oat flour. I just think oat flour is just too expensive, and it still doesn't get as finely ground when you do it yourself. And then I'm going to add my pitted dates. I'm using Deglet Noor because they tend to be a little bit drier and also a little bit less expensive, although if you're going to eat a date, probably Medjool would be the best one. And I'm going to process it for 2 minutes. Now, with a regular food processor, this will take 4 to 5 minutes because you want to get it so that like almost a ball forms. So I stopped it before 2 minutes because it started to form a ball, and that's what you want. Ah, this smells so good. So since I'm only making 6 cookies, I'm just going to eyeball it, and what I'll do is I'll take my dough ball and cut it in half, and then each one I will put in thirds. I mean, you could use a cookie scoop if you want to be exact, but I make these all the time, and I've gotten pretty good at eyeballing them. And if one's a little bigger, I can always take from the other. And so I just kind of roll them in my hand in a circle. And then I'm going to flatten them. Oh wow, they smell so good. And while I'm rolling them, I just want to tell you, please don't skimp on the vanilla powder. Vanilla extract will not yield the same delicious result. I promise you, I have tried it. Doesn't, unless maybe you can get, you know, there's one brand in Mexico that's alcohol-free that's really good. But for the most part, you're talking either it's going to have glycerin, which is sugar, or it's going to have alcohol, and you're going to taste that in your dessert. So why not just go with the best? You don't use that much of it, and you can know that you're going to get the highest quality and the best taste. Vanilla bean powder is simply the ground vanilla bean. There's a reason it's the second most expensive spice in the world after saffron, because it's that good. I honestly will tell you, I would rather not put vanilla in than go back to using extract. So these aren't exactly perfect, but they're close. And then what I'm going to do is just going to take my hand and press them down. Now, it's also important the cinnamon you use. You know, I've got nothing against, you know, bulk stores, but you get what you pay for, and the best cinnamon, in my opinion, would be a Cassia cinnamon. It's so good, it tastes like there's sugar in it. People often go back to Nick at Local Spicery and say, hey, you told me your spices were SOS free, the ones Chef AJ recommended, but the Cassia cinnamon is unparalleled. He has 3 different ones, and if you order with my code, he'll give you 2 small free SOS free samples. He's He's got the Indonesian Cassia, the Saigon, and one that actually has rose petals. They're all good, but I would say my favorite is the Saigon. So this is a really cool tray that Jackie Shook gave me. I love it. It's just like using a silicone tray, but it's firm, so you don't have to. You can see that nothing sticks. You can lift these up because you are going to actually flip these over in 4 minutes. It's really important that your oven is calibrated correctly, because if you cook these too long or too high, they're going to be so crunchy you won't be able to eat these. These are going to be a very soft cookie when they're done. So I'm going to pop these in a preheated 350-degree oven. At 4 minutes, I'm going to flip them and cook them for 4 more minutes. I got this really cute tool at Kitchen because I burned myself on my oven, which you might have done, and this is an oven pull so that I don't do that anymore. So after these are done, I'm going to show you what they look like. So it's really important that you take them right out of the oven to cool at the 8-minute mark, because you don't want these, I'll tell you, these can crisp up, you can break a tooth. So you take them out of the oven, and then always best to put them on a cooling rack. If you don't have a cooling rack, you know, if you have the Breville, you can take your air fryer tray upside down and use that as a cooling rack. So let them cool completely before enjoying them. And the best way to store them is in an airtight container. I use these ZipTops. They're fabulous because I can't use glass anymore living in the desert. If it breaks, we're screwed, because we don't have hardwood floors or carpeting, it's tile, and so these are wonderful. They are safe for the microwave, for the freezer, and they're airtight and they're adorable, and they keep them nice and fresh. I made these about a week ago, and you can see how fresh they stayed, if you can actually keep them that long. And I would imagine these would freeze well, it's just I haven't froze them. So if you come back next week, I'll show you how to make a vanilla frosting for these if you want to make sandwich cookies, but they really don't need them. Actually, I like them better plain, but sometimes people want things a little bit fancy. But please consider getting vanilla bean powder and a really good quality cinnamon. It really will make all the difference. But this recipe is amazing. I've served these to regular people who are not vegan, who eat tons of sugar, and they are delicious. The Cassia cinnamon, it tastes like sugar. Don't ask me how, but it does. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, and I truly believe you can have both the health and the body that you so richly deserve. And you can have Snickerdoodles!